Welcome to the Maritime Vision podcast. In each episode, we bring you exclusive interviews with maritime professionals, industry experts, and ambitious students who are making waves in the field. Our guests come from different backgrounds, including shipping, yachting, supply chain, offshore, and more. Our goal is to motivate and empower individuals by giving them the knowledge and resources they need to succeed in the maritime world. Hello everyone, welcome back to a new podcast episode. And today in this episode we are with Kenneth. Welcome Kenneth, it's a pleasure for me to having you today. And your background is very interesting because you have different kind of experiences in the maritime industry. You worked in a startups field, then you worked in sales in the maritime industry, so it's very interesting. So I will ask you many questions regarding your background, your experiences. And firstly, I would like to ask you this normal question, which is, can you present yourself and talk about your background, please, Kenneth?
I'm really very happy to be here. My name is Kenneth. I am originally from Nigeria. I came here for my master degree program 2 years ago in Hogeschool School, Rotterdam, shipping and transport, which I already completed, and then I'm now working. I've done quite a few things. A lot of things, if you want to say it like that. I originally started with chemical engineering. That was my first degree. And after that, I did my internship at ExxonMobil. And then finally, I graduated. I started working. I started off in logistics. First of all, supply chain, distribution kind of things in Guinness. And after that, other opportunities came. I went to material planning, things like that. Also, at some point, I also traveled outside of Nigeria, went to Malaysia, did some import-export business for myself. And after that, I came back to Nigeria, worked also in the port. And during the business, because I was doing a lot of importations, from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia to Nigeria, Benin Republic, Ghana. Those are the places where I was sending my goods. And during those times, I noticed a lot of issues with importation in those West African countries. There were lots of delays, lots of inconsistencies, low performance. So that is where I would think that's where my interest in maritime started. So I was like, why is things very slow? Why is it not going well? And things like that. I was thinking about this things unconsciously. But anyway, after the business, I did it for about 4 to 5 years. And then I came back to Nigeria, worked a little bit as a freight forwarder, and then I needed more knowledge, in the whole freight forwarding thing, and also the whole trying to, find ways to make importations to be very simple, so, and because I needed to find the solutions to this problem, and I also needed to know more, and that's how I ended up coming to study here for my master degree. This is where you have the biggest ports in Europe. So I think this is one of the best places to do a master degree program. And so that's how I came here.
So now we are in the Netherlands, so in Rotterdam.
Exactly, here in Rotterdam. So, and that's how I ended up here in Rotterdam. I started my master degree, finished it. While I was doing it, I also did an internship in Port SL. So I was an inside sales personnel. We can go into that a bit later because it's a whole.
Yeah, we will talk about your experience with Port XL. For sure.
So after my internship, I finished my school, started working now in Radio Holland, which is also a ship servicing company. So that's what I am doing now, and that's about me.
It's cool. It's great. So you already mentioned about so why did you start in the maritime industry? Why did you choose actually the maritime industry? You said because it was quite slow in your country, in Nigeria, and you wanted to make it more faster. You wanted to to improve the industry.
For me, I would say that For me, going into the maritime was more of finding solutions to problems. That's how I
Mm.
became interested in maritime. And yeah, maritime is also something that's because almost everything that we use, yeah, comes through the sea. Especially in Africa and in Nigeria, where you have a lot of importations. There are low productions and more
Mm.
importations. So a lot of things we use over there come from abroad. So yeah, apart from Africa, it's also very necessary in almost every country in the world. You need to import food. You need to import petrol, gasoline, things like that. So finding solutions to this, you know, very important part of life is something that brought me into maritime. So I wanted to find solutions to the problem of low performance in the ports, slow clearance of goods and the customs issues in Nigeria. We have a lot of customs issues. So yeah, so I went into the maritime just as a result of trying to find solutions to
Okay.
issues in maritime.
Okay, nice. Nice, very interesting. So that's why you are now working in a big company in the Netherlands.
Yep.
But first, I want to ask you your first. So you work for Port Excel.
Yeah.
So can you describe a little bit what is your daily task, and maybe introduce the company to my audience, please?
Yeah. Port SL is a company here in Rotterdam. It's the first innovation accelerator in the world. Um, uh, yeah, I really enjoyed my time in Port SL. I miss the people there. I still have my friends among them. It's a place where I really, really will not forget. It's what I did over there. I mean, what the company does is they, like I said, it's an innovation accelerator. So when they see innovations, they try to make these innovations to become a business.
Mm.
Not a business for themselves, but business for their partners. So PodSL is arranged in this way. PodSL is like an agent. PodSL is in the middle. So PodSL knows people who have innovations, people who have wonderful solutions, wonderful technologies. So people that sell know these people. Of course, they are always startups and scale ups. So Podesel know these people, and Podesel also knows some very big shots, like very big companies, like Podesel. We call them our strategic partners. So Podesel has like Port of Rotterdam, City of Rotterdam, Shell,
Mm.
Boskalis, Vanord, Damen. Very very big. Yeah, maritime companies or very very big oil companies, and yeah, very very strategic companies. So PortSL helps these very big companies to find solutions to some of their operational problems. And these operational problems need, yeah, better technology, needs a way to reduce use of petrol and use of power and things like that. So PowerSL brings this ecosystem of solution providers and yeah, solution needers, if I should call it like that, people who need companies who need solutions. So and then they form an ecosystem. They get into contracts, they get into discussions, and then yeah, they sign these contracts and they start business. So that's what
Mm.
PodSL does. So for me, my daily task is to look out for these startups and scale ups. I go in. There are so many databases with startups and scale ups. I go into those databases every day. I go there to talk to them. Hey, we have this kind of ecosystem in Rotterdam. Well, will you like to be part of us? This is what it takes. Yeah, sometimes, most of the time, they come back to you, say, "Oh, we are very interested," because of course they have nothing to lose. They just get
Mm.
into millions and thousands of contracts with these very big companies, and then yeah, that's so they are really very interested in those kind of things, and so that's what I do. And then if I talk to them and they're interested, then they tell me more about their technology. They tell me what level of development is their technology. And then I go back to these our strategic partners, the very big companies, and tell them, hey, do you want to listen to these guys? They are really very good. I think they are doing an amazing job, and this and that. And then if the both parties are really interested, and then they think there's something in it for them, then I bring them together, and so that's in summary what I do, and that's also in summary what Pod SL is all about.
Okay, very interesting. Because Accelerator, yes, it's always about helping startups to grow and to become, to make real business.
Yeah,
On the particularity of Power Excel, it's like specialized on the maritime industry or supply chain.
yeah. It's very specific about the maritime industry,
Okay.
but you have to also understand that the maritime industry or the ports is also an ecosystem of different kind of businesses. In the ports, around the port, you also have uh, like oil servicing companies.
Mm,
You also have logistics companies. You also have like freight forwarders. Like
mm,
Boskalis, who is a very big part of this ecosystem. They are like an offshore company. Also
okay.
Vanot, they're also like an offshore company. So it's maritime, but it's specifically interested in maritime activities. But like I said, maritime is also it's a bit wide
It's
depending on how you look
around,
at it.
yes, supply
Yeah,
chain,
yeah,
offshore, everything
yeah,
related.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's
Oil and
big.
gas and things
Wow.
like that. Exactly. And
So
like
so
Damen is a ship building company. Even at the company that I'm working right now, we have a very serious business. Damen is a very big business partner to the company where I'm working right now, and they are a ship building company. So that's not really they don't really have an office in the port, for example. But yeah, they are also in this ecosystem. So it's a bit wide, but it's all related to maritime, to ports, to shipping, to things like that.
okay. So what is how do you select I mean startups? What is the criteria?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Normally, we have a like last year when I was still doing my internship, we had our focus. Our focus was decarbonization. So we were looking out for
Mm,
uh, startups and scale ups who had solutions to issues, sustainability related issues, decarbonization related issues. If you have a technology that, for example, helps this company to do their operations with lesser fuel, then this is what we are looking for. I
okay.
remember we had a startup from the USA. What they do is no matter what energy you are using, maybe it could be gas, maybe it could be petrol, maybe it could be battery,
Mm,
whatever energy source you have, their technology um, is designed to help you to use only half of that energy. So, if, for example, if you're using petrol, when you put their technology, if you're using like let's say 10 liters of petrol to do this specific job, with their technology, it's gonna halve the 10 liters. So you use only 5 liters.
mm,
So if you're also using gas, the same thing. If you're using battery, so the energy coming from the battery goes becomes just half. So
okay.
things like that. So there are um, wide different kinds of technology, but the idea was that those technology have to have very specific impacts with regards to reducing decarbonization. So that was the whole idea last year when I
Okay.
was with them. So every year there is a new theme there's a new focus. So last year was decarbonization. I don't know what it is this year because I'm not with them anymore. And then 2 years ago they also had another focus. So that's so we select startups and scale ups depending on this focus.
Okay, interesting. So it's not only in the Netherlands; it's in the world. I mean, you're
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. We,
So
it's worldwide. From wherever we can find a startup, a scale up who is interested and who has a very interesting technology, we
okay.
just bring them from wherever.
So what about the startups industry in the Netherlands for the maritime industry? Is it big? Is it not as big as other neighbor countries?
It's big here. It's also very very important here in the Netherlands. Yeah, because I think when I was working with them, we had some startups, not startups, sorry, but some other innovation accelerators that were interested in working with us. Like I remember we had one in Italy. We also
Mm,
had one in Denmark. So
mm,
they also wanted to grow. They also wanted to become as big as we were or we are. I think they are still big. So I think it's big here, but not it's not just about being big. It's also very very important part of the technological development of the workforce here in the Netherlands.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So the ecosystem is quite actually is quite big in Europe. And did you find some companies in Africa, for example?
Yes, we didn't select them because, of course, there are different stages to the whole thing, and there are different processes how we do it. So we can also first of all start with talking to 500 companies. From that 500, we will
Mm,
select like 300. From 300, we will talk to them again. They get to the next stage, and then we'll bring them down to 150, and then from that 150, we let those big companies like our strategic partners, we let them talk to them, and then from there we reduce them. So there are different stages before you get into the
mm.
ecosystem. So we had
Okay.
companies from South Africa, from Namibia, who we talked to and who we thought at first we were like, oh, this technology is very good. But when we brought in our strategic partners, they said, oh, this is not really something in them. This is not really something they are really interested in at this point. And you also have to remember that these companies, these startups, they they, they have different levels of development. So
Mm,
the development level that their technology is at a particular time may not match the operations of these other very big companies. You understand? So
okay.
yeah, depending on this criteria. But yes, we had people we spoke to from Africa.
Mm. Okay. What kind of resources and support do you provide for Excel provides to these startups?
Mm, um, what I sell is an accelerator, of course, innovation accelerator. So we do our best to see that these startups and scale ups they grow, they become as international as possible. They become, we help them to see that the whole world or yeah, the companies that we work with, we help them to see that these companies know that such technologies exist. And
Mm,
so we do that by bringing a lot of support. So that's what I just want to make clear, that there are lots of support. First of all, we bring them here to Rotterdam. They stay like 3 weeks here. Within that 3 weeks, they are always welcome to the office. So we have like a yeah space for them to work anytime they want. We also organize road shows. We also organize high profile dinners. We also
mm,
do some marketing and pitch making trainings. So because when we
okay.
bring them to these our strategic partners, we want them to be able to present their technologies very well. So we do all kind of training for them. We let them understand that you need to sell yourself and sell your product this way, things like that.
Mm,
So, and apart from that, there is also like a loan given to them because, like I said, they're coming from different parts of the world to Rotterdam to stay for like 3 weeks. You know, I mean they keep coming, but there's this particular 3 weeks. I think it's always around December. Towards towards the end of the year. Sorry, so they leave whatever they are doing in their respective countries. They come to Rotterdam to stay for like 3 weeks. So we
Okay.
provide a fund to them. They take a loan from us, um, which they are supposed to pay back. I think 3 years or something after their first
Okay.
contract.
Okay, so you have internal.
So yeah, there are so yeah, yeah. So there's different kinds of support that we give them as Port SL. But yes, Port SL really does its best to see that these startups and scale ups grow. And I also want to say that one of the biggest challenges of startups and scale ups is sustainability. I mean,
Mm.
remain floating. It's remaining, keeping the business floating for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's not always easy because they're always in need of funds. They are always struggling. They're always, trying to let. They're always trying to bring in their technology to the market. Which is always not easy because of competition, because
Mm.
of international regulations, regional regulations, and things like that. So one of the very good thing that we try to do is to try to help them find ways to see that they float, they keep the business going as long as possible,
Okay.
and then from then they can, if they are startups, then they can go up to scale up and scale up company. And if it's a scale up company, then it can grow to become even a very bigger company with 20, 30, 40, 50 employees. So
Okay.
those are the
Nice.
kind of things that we try to do, and then we try to do it in such a way that it really keeps the business going as long as possible.
Okay, very interesting. So I think you said many good informations about your first experience. Now I know that you work for your sales. What is already your position in Radio Holland?
Radio Holland, I am a sales service engineer.
Sales service engineer. So okay, so can you describe a little bit about this job?
This role is, like I said, I'm a sales service engineer. Um, I talk every day. I talk to vessel managers. I talk to vessel superintendents. I talk to vessel owners and yeah, different people in that group to to plan and schedule services on their vessels. So
Okay. So
it can be any kind of service. It could be because normally in the vessels there are very mandatory services that you need to do at least once a year. Like the radio annual survey, the VDR APT, the gyro, things like that. So yeah, so that's something else. But apart from that, yeah, the ship can it's just like a car, right? It can develop a fault at any point in time. Something is not working, the egg disk is not
mm,
working, the you need to look at LRITs, you need to look at AIS and things like that. So there are so many things that could not be working, the radars, so that's what I do. I talk to them, or they call me, they contact me, they send me emails and say, "Oh, can you schedule? Our vessel is coming to the port of Rotterdam." Or, like for me, I also cover Belgium, Antwerp. So they can also say, "Our vessel is coming to Antwerp. Our vessel is coming to Ghent or wherever, or it's going to Amsterdam." And we would like to look at this. We would like to perform this annual survey. We would like to do this and that. And then, yeah, I look at it. I look at our schedule as a company and look at the schedules of our engineers and tell them that, okay, at so dates, there's an available engineer. I will make a quotation right away, send them the quotation. And then they look at the quotation. Most of the time, they already know the price ranges. So, and then they say, okay, yeah, we confirm. And then my job is almost done. I push it to the next team, and then the next team starts the planning. And then, yeah, at the end of the day, the engineer goes on board, performs the service, and then the customer is happy.
okay, nice. So my Wi-Fi was not very strong, so I missed a little bit what you said, but it's not a problem because it's a backup saving. But I wanted to just ask you, what can you present a little bit Radio Holland, like the company, because people who listen to the podcast maybe they don't know the company.
Yeah. Of course, Radio Holland is a Dutch company. I mean, it's Radio Holland. So people who don't know, when they hear radio, they think it's like what do you call it? Like radio, the normal radios.
Uh, on the
Yeah,
car, yeah, for to go to road, yeah.
yeah. So sometimes we also get calls from people to say, oh, they have issues. They have what do you call it? They have like a request for like a radio station, So, but we are not a radio station. We are something else. We are a vessel, ship, or what do you call it? Sea-going vessels servicing company. So we just work on the ship and solve some of their problems. So that's what Radio Holland does. So it's originally it's still a Dutch company, and we have a lot of offices all over the world in Antwerp, in the UK, in Egypt, in South Africa, in France, yeah, Norway, yeah, so many
Okay,
places.
yeah.
It's really
Many.
a very big company in Dubai also. So yeah,
Yeah.
and we do the same thing everywhere.
It's
And of course, like every company, like I said, we are a ship servicing company. So, but there are other things that relates to servicing the vessel. So it's a bit complicated if you don't know. But yeah, if we go into it, then it's gonna take a very long time. But yeah, that's what we do as a company.
okay. So your position is quite technical because even if you work in sales, you still need to know how it works. Because it's always about navigational equipments. You need to know how it
Yeah.
works, satellite, etc. How did you
Yeah.
learn everything?
Yeah, you're very correct. It's very, very, very technical because yeah, the vessel managers, they just call you and they just start talking about the radar,
Yeah.
about EGDs, about AIS, about the radios, about VHF, MF, so many things. They can just come up with anything. So you really need to have an idea of what they are asking you, So because if you don't even have an idea, then you cannot know what solutions could be,
Mm.
So it's not just about sales, but there's also a technical engineering part of it. So how did I learn? I went to a very short but also comprehensive training. But it's a kind of job that you need to learn on the job. It's as you do it
Mm.
every day, they come up with almost the same issues every now
Yeah.
and then. And then there are it's only when I started working in this company that I realized that so many vessels come to Rotterdam, like uncountable, So these vessels, they come with the same issues or related issues that are related to one another. Then you can always put this one and one together or one and two together, and then like, oh, this is what
Mm.
it should be. And like I said, I just talk to them and see what the problem is or what the problem could be, and then I make a quotation and send the quotation to them. So the engineer goes on board, So before the engineer
Okay.
goes on board, before the engineer goes on board the vessel to perform the service, he's also informed of what the issues are, So the engineer also makes recommendations of some of the things to add on the quotation, and things like
Okay.
that. So we all work together as a
Okay.
team, and then we see that the services are very well performed.
Nice. On what kind of issue you can have you work on most of time?
Like I was saying earlier, things that you can always find are things like the annual surveys. There are some surveys that you
Mm.
have to perform. Every vessel has to perform at least once a year, and this is yeah, it could be navigational, it could also be communications. The communications one is like a radio communication, and this communication is more like it's like when you are, because these vessels, they go on the high sea, right? So when they're
Yeah.
on the high sea, they are away from the rest of the world. They are not reachable and things like that. So if an emergency happens, then how do we know where they are, and how do we contact them, or how do they contact people? So how do they
Yeah.
contact the rest of the world? So that's what the radio survey is mostly. I mean, it's more than that, but that's a basic explanation of it. So every year they have to make sure that these equipment work, so that if they have an emergency, if the vessel is sinking, if the vessel is on fire, things like that, they can easily push like a distress button. So
Okay.
we have to make sure every year that this distress button is working. We have to make sure that the
Mm.
radio communication, like there's a direct link between themselves and whoever they need to contact in the cases of emergencies. So that kind of thing is something that is very common. They do it every year. And there's also like a gyro overhaul, and
Mm.
that's the gyro is like a compass. Like it directs the ship where the ship needs to go and things like that. So things like that needs to be done once a year. And like the radar, the radar sees objects that are close to the vessel, depending on how many meters away and things like that. So those are things that
Mm.
are really, really, really common.
Okay, very interesting. So Radio Holland, it's for example, it won't be about engine on board the ship. It's not about the crew. It's only about like navigational equipments.
Yeah, mostly
Okay.
navigational and communications equipment.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, so can you describe a little bit your daily? What is a day as a sales agent with the Radio Holland?
Yeah, it's because it's sales and it's also technical. Yeah, so there are different days. You have different scenarios on different days. Some days it's all very chill. Everything is going on well as planned. It's all nice. You're just talking to the customer and they're sounding very happy, and then it keeps going. Some other days it's complicated. You
Mm.
are trying to find solutions to this particular problem, but it's not working. So but anyway, my day looks like this. I come to the office. I Because normally when the vessels send this request, we have like an inbox. It's like
Yeah.
an email. They send an email. We have like a service.rotterdam@radioholland.com. So they send their issues to this email, and then it come into our inbox. So when I come, I just look at the inbox. There are so many requests, so many problems, and then with myself and my colleagues, we just take those requests one after the other, and then they say, "Oh, we are coming to Rotterdam on 20th of August, and we want to perform a radio survey, EGDIS, and there's also another one they have to do every year. That's it's called VDR. So yeah, we need to do this. We are coming on 20th August. Then I look at our schedules, because we also have like engineer schedule. So we look at that schedule and see, like, on 20th, do I have like a radio engineer that is available on 20th? Do I have like a VDR person who can do a
Mm.
VDR survey, a VDR APT? Yeah, that's how it's called, on 20th. And if I see that it's possible, because normally when these vessels come, there is like what do you call it? ETA, ETD, like estimated time of arrival. So estimated time of arrival is 20th, but sometimes it comes 22nd, sometimes it comes 21, sometimes it comes 19, depending on a lot of things. It's always
Mm.
delaying or coming a bit earlier. So yeah, but we just work on whatever dates they think they will arrive. So we just work on that, and then normally they also send us the vessel's agent. So we also call the vessel's agents like a day or two before and ask the agent, "Hey, what time is this vessel arriving?" You can also see there are also some tools online that you can use to see the vessels.
Yeah, marine traffic, this kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Marine travel. Yeah, exactly. There's another one, AIS and things like that. So there are
Yeah.
different tools that you can just use, and then so if we see that the vessel is supposed to arrive on 20th, but it's not it's not berthed yet, we can call the agent and say, "Hey, what's going on? This vessel, we are supposed to attend to this vessel on so dates. When is the vessel berthed?" The agent, when if they already know, then most times they are the ones who have the right information. So we don't need to ask the ship owners or the ship managers. We call the agent. Agents know. And then the agent tell us, oh, it's supposed to berth tomorrow at normally they also tell you the time, you know. Okay, then we work with that, and then we schedule I schedule an engineer. I can also just schedule the engineer in the system, also make a quotation, and then send to the customer. And then after a day or two, then they confirm, okay, we see the quotations, it's okay, and we send our confirmation, and then that's it. So I push it to the next team. So the next team does the preparation, lets the engineer know, make sure that the spares, because sometimes the engineers have to go on board with some spare parts. You know, so this other team, make sure that those spare parts are available. And so that's what my day looks like. And after this issue, when I push it to that next team, then I take up another ticket or another issue, and then I also look at it and also do almost the same. Yeah, and sometimes on very bad days, not bad, but on the very challenging days, the ticket, the other team pushes it back to me. Hey, the vessel is not coming as planned, or hey, the customer says, because when I push it to them, I can't really see I can't follow up the conversation anymore. I don't see it anymore. It's now in their own inbox, something like that. Sometimes they come back, oh, the vessel wants also to do so thing again, so I have to make a new quotation. The vessel, they can just come up with any other thing, and then it pushes it back to me, you know. Or sometimes the service is performed, but they are still having the same problem, you know. So they say, oh, now we are moving from Rotterdam, because the vessel keeps moving, right? So they say, oh, we are moving from Rotterdam to Antwerp, or from Rotterdam to Amsterdam, or from Rotterdam to France, something like that. So I have to contact our team in France or in Antwerp, and to let them know that you have an engineer who can attend on this vessel for this so problem. If we don't have, then I have to also look for a subcontractor. I have to look for another vessel servicing company to attend. So it's a bit, it's like a table tennis. So I play it there, and then it comes back, and then I play it there, and it comes back until it's finally performed.
But something important to know, it's always fixed problems. You are not providing like new equipments for ships. It's only about fixing problems.
We do. Radio Holland also we have different teams. We have a project team, you know, and so these project teams, when a new vessel is built, so this project team goes to these new vessels and installs new equipment from Radio Holland. You know, so we actually have our own products, and we install this product.
Okay, very interesting. So I want to ask you the last question of the episode, because it's almost time. So can you give advice to someone who wants to work in sales in the maritime industry? Which advice can you give?
Sales generally is very interesting, because it depends on what you like and what you are capable of doing. But sales is very interesting because you have to talk to the customer every now and then. You also have to be very good with communications. You have to so if you think it's something that you are good at, or something that you can learn how to do and you can do it well, you are really very, very welcome. I think it's very interesting because, like I say, you talk to customers, you see what their problems are, and you go out of your way to find solutions. And then when the solutions are found, then you're happy. The customer is happy, and then you're happy, you feel good, you know. So it's really a very interesting sector, if I should say. Then sales in maritime it's even more interesting because the vessels, they need to keep going every hour, every minute. If not, it's very expensive to run a vessel, you know. So if it's not working 24 hours, if it's not working every now and then they are very, very angry. They are unhappy. They are just not comfortable. So if you can provide solutions to them speedily when they need it, then you're gonna really be very, very you're gonna be friends with them. You know, they're gonna be very happy with you. So it's very interesting to get into sales in the maritime. Maritime has different
Yeah.
sections, so it depends on what you really think you can do. If sales is not your thing, but you want to work in the maritime, you want to see vessels, you want to work on the ship, like what do you call it, freight forwarding, import, export kind of things. Yeah, so
Operations. Yeah.
yeah, it's very wide. So it depends on really what you like to do. But I think it's very open for everybody, and I think and I really hope that more people can come into it.
Okay, nice. Thank you very much, Kenneth. Thank you for this valuable tips on. Yeah, you bring me a lot of value in this episode. I wanted to say thank you again, and I wish you all the best in your adventure with Radio Holland, and we see you around in Rotterdam, of course.
Yeah. I would really like to see you around, and thank you very much, and lots of luck with your podcast.
Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice
Yeah.
day. Bye bye. Thank you for listening and watching this episode. We are looking forward to bring you more inspiring stories from maritime professionals, experts, and students. Do not hesitate to leave a review on Apple Podcast and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Your support means a lot to us, and it greatly helps in our continuous growth. We're committed to bringing you more exciting episodes with passionate guests.